Welcome to day 2, the video lesson that focuses on the About Us and Contact Us pages. Now, I know yesterday was pretty intense. We covered quite a bit of information on how we can approach the content for the homepage. Because again, homepages are the main hub or the main gateway of our websites. But now we have to find a way to engage our customers and give our customers access to our stories, but also access to our businesses. And this is extremely important in helping to build the like and trust factor that is important before our customers are ready to buy. So in this particular lesson, it won't be as intense. Day 1 was pretty wild, and for day 2 you're gonna get a slightly easier set of activities because the About Us and Contact Us pages are not quite as content rich or as content heavy. So let's get right into it. So the About Us page essentially gives our customers an inside look into our business. So the About Us page should really cover several different areas. One, and most importantly, we need to give them more insight into the brand's purpose. So on the home page, they should at least have gotten a hint, have gotten a brief overview on what our brands stand for. On the About Us page, this is where you're going to be giving them more information, giving them more context to help them to better connect to your services and to your products. And remember, if you are a small entity, if you're just starting, you as an individual will be very, very important in helping to build the likability and trust factor with your customers. So the About Us page, particularly the brand's mission, will be very important. You also have an opportunity here to further expand on what makes your products unique. Because again, when visitors are on your page, they're asking that question: why should I buy these products and not other products? And the About Us section is really where you can provide even more information on what it is that helps to make your products, your skincare lines, your hair care lines, your personal care lines stand out from everything else on the market. Because independent brands, small brands, founder-led brands tend to be centralized around stories and storytelling, right? People get connected to your products through the stories that you often tell. It is very important that you also tell your brand's or your business's story. What were the key milestones? What was the history? What was the rationale behind why you decided to start this particular product or product line? And how is this product line contributing to the betterment or the well-being of your customers? This is a very, very important story to tell. And again, what it does is that it humanizes the brand. When we talk about e-commerce and trade online, it is very, very easy to disconnect the human elements of our brands. And the About Us page, through the storytelling component, helps to humanize it and ensure that your buyers or your visitors don't feel as if they're just interacting with zeros and ones. They're interacting with real people, with real stories, with real innovation, with real communities. And the only way you can expand on that and express that is through a dedicated page on your website. And I would strongly recommend this being on your About Us page. Again, if you are a founder-led business, give them a little insight into who you are as a person, who you are as an entrepreneur. This also adds to the likability component. So it is very important that you showcase yourself in a way that would appeal to your customers. So if your customers, for example, are interested in a more sophisticated, serious, edgy brand, then it is important that when you showcase yourself in that way, so that you are speaking directly to your customers. And similarly, if you have a team that you are working with, that also helps to strengthen or make your customers more comfortable. When they think that there is more than one person in a business, they feel almost naturally that it's a more sustainable business, that that it's a more dependable business. So I would highly recommend, if you have a team, that you can include information about your team. This can be very detailed information, so the names of the individuals and their roles in the organization and a little bit more about them. But if you don't have that structure of a team, and you may have contractors, consultants that work with you, you can just speak a little bit about your team in a kind of more, in a broader sense. These are the different skill sets. These are the different expertise that you have in your business or supporting your business, and this will help to increase their comfort levels with engaging with your brand and ultimately buying your products. When you get to the design element, images and visuals definitely help to help with the storytelling and to help make the page more engaging. So that's also important to include if possible. How do you ensure that your text and your visuals help to tell that story and help to draw them in? Because the truth is, they are on this page to buy products. They're on your website to buy products. But when they get to the About Us page, you're going to have to find a way to capture that attention, and you do that through your visuals, your typography, your images, etc. So very simple, very straightforward. Here are some examples. Credo Beauty, of course, is more of a marketplace. They have, they stock and carry and recommend many different types of independent brands. But what I like about their About Us page is that it is very focused, driven on clean. So if you notice, the word clean occurs over and over again. Credo, we define clean. Clean is more than hype or a hashtag. Clean is inclusive. It's for everyone. Clean is more than just ingredients. It is our calling. So they are clearly not only telling their brand value and their mission, but they're also clearly differentiating themselves from the competition. It is not just about hype and hashtag. It is not only for some, but it is for everyone. So they're clearly differentiating themselves from what you may see currently on the market. So they're easily covering many different elements of the About Us page in a strong mission statement. Here's a very interesting example. Cleur, on their About Us page, it is actually a letter from the founder to its customers. It's so very powerful. It is so human. It is so unique, right? That again, the founder is putting themselves out into the world of the customer, and talking about the brand visions and talking about the brand purpose and how it helps in bringing wellness products to the consumers. Very, very powerful, very, very interesting, a very good read. You can click on this and have a read and get some inspiration on how you can make your About Us different. Again, we talk about these founder-led businesses. Tammy Fender, that's the name of the brand. And her About Us page, or the business's About Us page, talks about Tammy, because she's so central to the development of these products, and telling her story and aligning her story with the development of these unique product offerings, I think is also very powerful. So if you have a brand that is named after you, it may be very useful in your About Us page to talk about you and to connect your story with that of the brand. I hope those examples gave you some inspiration in writing your About Us page. Now we're going to go to Contact Us. And I think it's pretty important. It's pretty obvious why this is important, but You would be surprised to know again how many businesses simply ignore the contact us page. They may have a little form that's there, but they don't give much information. And that is very, very, very dangerous. You're leaving money on the table. If a visitor comes to your web page, your website, and is interested in purchasing products, and they go to the contact page and they don't clearly see how they can reach out to you if there's an issue, if there's a problem with their order, if they want more information on the products, if they don't see how they can reach out to you, then they're not going to purchase. And you will find many new bath and beauty brand websites simply don't have much information on their contact page. Do not make that mistake. The contact page is extremely important. We spoke about the relevance of building credibility and building trustworthiness, because in the digital space, it is so very easy for persons to get scammed. And one of the factors that should set off red flags whenever you go on a website is that there's no contact us information. If your website does not have any contact us information, people will assume the worst. So this is a very easy thing to implement. You are going to provide sufficient information that will allow your customers to have easy access to get in touch with you and your business. So simple things such as phone, email, and an address. If you are operating from home and you prefer not to have your home information online, that is perfectly understandable. You will need to simply register for a business or a virtual phone and address. At the very least, you need to have an email address. I much prefer an email address that has its own domain as opposed to at Gmail or at Hotmail or at Outlook or whatever the case is. Have your own domain. In fact, once you have your website, it's useful to have your own domain so that you have that set up. So you should be able to get an email address. That adds a little bit more formality to your business and it will make people take you more seriously. So at the very least, have a phone number and have an email address. If people write, respond quickly, because their first attempt to contact you will likely be an email or an email submitted through a contact form. They're not likely to call you. Just in this day and age, people are much more comfortable reaching out via instant message or via email. Ensure if they write, you respond quickly. Even if you don't have a response right away, you can say, I've gotten your email, we're doing our checks, and I will get back to you in 3 to 5 days or 2 to 3 days. So that will reduce their need in case you don't want too many people calling your phone. If you're responding to emails, they're less likely to call you via phone. If you are doing offline sales, so if for example, you have a pop-up shop, you're doing farmers markets, if you have your own brick and mortar store, then addresses will be important. So you will need to have that available. And if you have a map, even better, because if people are trying to find you, they're clicking on a Google map, right? They're clicking on a map and using GPS. They're not really interested in the letters and numbers that make up your address. So embedding a satellite map, a GPS-based map will definitely be very helpful. You can also have a contact form for easy submission of queries. So if persons want to ask you something, they don't have to come off of your website to go into their email software to send you an email. They can easily email you within the contacts form, and most content management systems will allow you to easily embed a form that's directly connected to your email. So once they fill the form out, it comes to your email and you can then continue to respond in that way. In this contact form, you need to collect information that you believe would be useful to help you to determine how you can help the customer or the visitor. So things like their email address you might be interested in. If you are, if for some reason you may need their physical address, you can also collect that as well, their phone number, and it's also very customary to have a section where they can type their message. You may have like a drop down set of categories. So if you want to know if they're writing about returns, about poor product quality, about new offerings, about discounts, or general queries, you may have a drop down so that when it comes into your email, you have kind of categories. And if you have a team that may deal with certain aspects of customer service, you can then distribute them accordingly. Have a section about access hours. So if you have a physical space, then opening hours are going to be very important. So ensure that you're including that. If you are only entertaining customer service calls at a certain time, you can include that. But typically speaking, once you have email and a contact form, you should be accessible 24/7 in theory. So they are free to reach out to you via email at any time. And you can even make that note that for phone queries, these are the times, but for email queries, they have access 24/7. If you have social media, which you should, you can also include the links to your social media pages. You don't have to have many. What's important is that you have social media pages where that reflects the channels that your customers are using. So if your customers are big on Instagram, if this is something you know about your ideal customer, then you need to have an Instagram page, because that is where they're likely to go and to send you a DM or to find out more information. Because again, as I mentioned, websites tend to be static, where social media tends to be more dynamic. And if they're interested in what's new, they're likely to check that out on your social media pages. So include your links as well. And it's a good way to continue to engage your audience in different ways. So just here are a couple examples. So BloomFX, we would have looked at some of their homepage components yesterday. They have a very simple form. If you have any questions, we're happy to answer them. You can send an email or you can simply complete this form. Very simple, very easy. It doesn't make things complex. The good thing about this is if it doesn't have a whole lot of information where the customer or the visitor is now determined trying to figure out what's the best way to reach out to them. This is how you're going to reach out to us. Just fill in the form and we will get back to you. Very simple. It works. And there's a lot you can learn from that. Here is an example that does not have a form, but it has a lot of additional information based on what you need. So for example, there's an FAQ that has information on shipping and return policies. So if you have specific requests or very specific information that you need, it is sending you to other pages. So you have that option of having hyperlinks within the web page. If you want to track your order, you can click to another page, or you can send questions about that order to order@GlowRecipe. For other inquiries, you can reach out to love@glowrecipe.com. So they have different emails depending on what you need help with. If you need consultations or specific questions on your skincare regime, then they have a separate email for that. If you have issues with returns, product quality, if you're not satisfied with your purchase, there's another email for that. If you're interested in wholesale distribution and sales, or if you're interested in PR related activities, there are separate emails for that. So this is another approach that you could have if you, and this also adds credibility, right? This clearly shows that they have a very structured way of handling customer inquiries. So that adds credibility. So there's no address, there's no telephone number, there is instead specific emails for specific questions, and that can certainly work. There are elements of that you can definitely use. If you're just starting, so you don't have a whole lot of different email addresses, you can have two main ones. You can have something for general inquiries, and then you can have something for tracking, returns, and bulk orders, for example. So that way in your email, you're also seeing them aggregated or disaggregated by the specific customer service inquiry. That was pretty simple, right? So day 2 is an easy day. After day 1, you definitely need a little bit of a break. So you're going to get one for day 2. So let us now look at your assignment. Let's have a quick look at the workbook for day 2. Okay, so again, for day 2, you have a workbook with some specific sections covering the About Us and Contact Us pages. Again, this is not difficult to create. The About Us section, if you have not gone through an extensive branding, brand development, brand strategy, that may be a little difficult to do, especially if you're not very strong at writing, but still make some attempts to put that together as best as you can. Again, this workbook helps you to implement what you have learned in the video lesson. And I would suggest that you just take an hour and fully build this out. It too can easily be printed, or you can fill it out in what your typical PDF reader. Okay, so it covers the About Us page first, and it will guide you through the process of creating a compelling and informative story about your bath and beauty brand. So you're going to start with your vision or mission subheading. Now, you don't necessarily have to call it brand vision and mission. You can term that section in any way that speaks to your audience. So for example, so what are we all about? Who are we? You know, depending again on your audience and what will speak to your audience, you can come up with unique headings. Then you can go ahead and write out a description of your vision and or mission, and then a call to action. So if there's learn more, if this is join the movement, if this is shop or sustainable products, you know, some kind of call to action will be useful. Then your brand story. So this is now where you tell your history, your milestone, and your future, right? What would you like them to know? So come up with a subheading, describe that story as best as you can. Again, if you are just starting, if you have not yet launched products, talk about the history. Why did you decide to come up with your own brand? What is it in your experience that has brought you to this point? And what is the future? What are your plans for yourself as a chief formulator or the entrepreneur? What are the plans for the business moving forward? And then come up with a call to action if you have one. What makes your brand, your products, your story unique? Again, this is always important to reiterate. So if there are some central themes that are differentiators for your brand, ensure that you are capturing those in the About Us page. You can quickly document these in this section. Then tell us a little bit about you, about the founder, and describe as much as you can, but not too much details, just something to at least connect you a little bit more as an individual. And if you have a team that you're working with or certain expertise that you'd like to highlight, you can put this here, put in the name of the team member or the expertise, and put a description, so that once you're putting together that section on the team, you have some valuable content to utilize. Then there's a contact us page. This is very simple. So come up with a subheading for that area. We'd like to hear from you. Contact us. How to reach out to us. Have a problem. It doesn't matter what it is. Then you're going to put the name of your business, the address, phone, and email. Okay. I know in some cases your business name may not be the same as your product name. And it is important that whatever the name of your website or product is, that you have it here. You don't want people to get confused that, oh, am I on the contact page for a different business? So let us say, for example, and I'll give you an example. My product line is Bailey Breeze. It's a local brand, business to business. I just sell bulk to salons. That's the name of the line. But my business is MLR Technology and Innovation, or Skincare Startup, depending on where you sit. On the contact page for Bailey Breeze, it would have Bailey Breeze and the information. Because if I put MLR Tech, people would be a little confused. So it is very important that your main website, the name be captured in your contact us page. If you have opening times or customer service hour times, you can include that, and your social media handles or your social media information, include that as well. Oftentimes you can hyperlink this to the icons, but you can still put the information in. So again, if you are giving this to a virtual assistant or to a developer, they will need to have all the links, the actual information available. If you want to create a form, you can create a subheading, give some instructions on how to use a form, and then come up with the opt-in form field. So this can be name, address, phone number. It can also be message, right? Message, which will be the big box where you put where the customer or the visitor will put all the information that they need you to have to make a decision or to continue to follow up with them. And then some call to action, which would simply be submit or reach out, or something like that, for the contact us form. So again, very straightforward. Then you have a couple notes pages if you wish, more information on the Growth Hub if you're still interested, and then you are done with day 2. So we are at the end of the video lesson. If you have any questions, please feel free to post them in the Facebook group. Please to go ahead and share the progress that you have made over the past couple of days. If you have more kind of detailed questions that you prefer not to post in the Facebook group, because there's some people prefer not to share in that kind of forum, please feel free to send me an email at hello@skincarestartup.com. I look forward to hearing from you. I look forward to seeing more on your About Us and contact pages, and any questions at all, please let me know. Okay, remember we have our live Q&A at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Tuesday, April 25th. So please put that on your calendar. You will get all the notifications via email and in the Facebook group as well. And if you have any specific questions about the About Us page, you'll be able to get them answered there. All right, bye for now.